I couldn't believe that they were like, yeah, go for it. And my mom, who's the sweetest, but her biggest concern is always me getting hurt. Was always very like, do you want to do that? Why don't you try to be an actor or something? But now she's like my biggest fan. Like if I post something, it's like the first like I see is like my mom. I'm like, Mom,
that's great.
So, I love that.
Yeah.
Who ended up training you?
Huh?
Who ended up training you when you decided this is what you're going to do?
Well, very ECW. This is a ECW all the way around. Spike Dudley trained me. So I got into like the New England indie scene, and Spike was training at Top Rope Promotions, a place called the Lockup Academy. He had started running in Fall River, and I kind of didn't know what I was doing. I was just bouncing around trying to get advice and have anyone train me. And someone came to me and was like, "Listen, if you really want to do this, Spike Dudley has a school." And so I was living in Boston at the time, and then I just started driving, the hour down to Fall River every other day to train with Spike, and it worked out in the end, I think. So.
I think you're doing pretty good for yourself.
Jeez.
Yeah, Spike is great.
And I didn't know what I was getting into. I didn't know anything about necessarily Spike as a human. I just knew what I saw on TV. So I'm like, man, I'm going to Spike Dudley school. What is this going to be like? Is this going to be like I know nothing at the time. I'm like, am I going to be, doing ECW hardcore type training? And Spike just blew my mind with the amount of knowledge that he had about every technical wrestling, mad grappling, high flying. He knew everything. He was just so smart that he knew that this was his path to make money in the business, and really went for it. But I always bring up, there's a match between Spike and Rob Van Dam that's like on a house show at ECW that I found one time going through the VHSs at the old school, and where Spike looks more like Rob Van Dam than Rob Van Dam does. He's doing all this high flying stuff. He's blowing my mind. I'm like, Spike, why didn't you do this all the time? He's like, because I wasn't going to make money being the small guy doing the same stuff RVD was doing. I was going to make money getting beat up. And I was like, yep.
Yeah.
Okay, I know nothing about wrestling, please.
Yeah, his deal was just getting thrown in the audience, and the fans ate that up. It didn't matter if it happened once or a million times. That spot was iconic, and they loved it. So
yeah, he was great. He was great to me, and still, to this day, if I go back up to Rhode Island or Massachusetts, I'll try to find a way to see him here and there. But it seems like he's doing good. He's got a family now and stuff like that. So. Thank you, Spike. Thanks for everything.
Oh, I love that. So you start training. When do you get your first big break, and how do you transfer over to ROH?
So, it's weird because I feel like a lot of things happened very quickly for me, and it was, I think, more because New England there were so many places, so many schools, so many shows, so many companies in New England, and then also New York and New Jersey. That whole Northeast, from Philadelphia to Boston, is just a hotbed of wrestling. And it's almost like being born, raised in a pressure cooker, where it's you got to kind of find your way out of here, and there's so much pressure in this little area that diamonds are going to just start shooting out of it. And there's so many good guys that came from that area: Mike Bennett, Tommaso, Warbeard Hansen, or Ivar, whatever he is now. And it's all those guys were all at the same age at the same time in the same place, and we all kind of were I don't care how far it is, we're getting in the car together, we're going everywhere. And it just happened very, very quickly. And there's a place up in the Northeast called Northeast Wrestling that they get, they do baseball stadiums. They have great, huge shows up there. And I was just going to do ring crew one time, and some guy ended up dropping out of the show last minute. I had my gear. Next thing I know,
your gear. That's the most important thing. Always bring your gear bag with you.
Oh, of course. So next thing I know, I'm in the ring with Big Daddy V getting squashed. I'm so green. I have no business being in the ring with anyone at this point. And those pictures will be iconic for me forever, because it was the first time that it was something big that I did. And after that, I just started kind of rolling with Northeast Wrestling and really kind of my friendships with other people from Tommaso and Mike Bennett, and as they had been in the business a little bit longer, so as they were kind of going to other places, I would just really tag along and be like, hey, yeah, no, if you need anyone, here I am. And I would do that at Ring of Honor, and it was just one of those things where same situation. After a certain amount of time, if you're that kid that's always around helping out and is just there and has their gear, there's going to be a time where they need to fill a position.
Yep.
And the same thing happened with Ring of Honor. And I always kind of told myself, these opportunities don't come every day. So like if you have the chance to do it and get in front of people, you have to come ready to impress. So I did a bunch of darks for Ring of Honor for a while, really almost for like a year and a half, 2 years. And then finally, one day Jim Cornette came up to me and was like, Matt Taven, I always thought you were a puppy with big paws. It's time for you to grow into those big paws. I think we want to sign you to a contract. I was like, I don't know what any of that, what you just said, besides sign you to a contract. I'm all for it. So
I don't know what that means, but let's go. So what year is this now?
Jim Cornette. So,
no, what year?
Oh, this is 2012. So like I signed January 1, 2013 with Ring of Honor. And it was crazy. There was so much of us that signed at the same exact time. Me, Adam Page, Silas Young, who's still at Ring of Honor, ACH. We all signed on the same day, QT Marshall. And it was just kind of like a new class had come in. And we were like, and I look back at it now. I just was at Jay Lethal's school last night, and he's got all these old DVDs of Ring of Honor, and I'm pulling them out and reading them. And I'm like, man, this is like year one for me, and I have no business being on this show with any of these guys. All these, it's like Kevin Owens and Claudio and Chris Hero. It's like all these guys that are so good. I was like, I had no business being on that show at that time, but I'm glad I was able to stick it out and stick around for so long.
But see, the thing with you, and this is the first time we're actually meeting, but you're humble, which is so nice to see. It's refreshing because a lot of these.
You're going to ruin my gimmick.
Well, you're kind of ruining your own gimmick, by the way. You're handling yourself, but it's very attractive to see because there's a lot of guys who come in and they think that they're the shit right away. And they should be, on top right away, and they don't want to pay dues, and or they come from they were on TV as an actor, or they did this or they did that, and they think they're entitled, and right away they should be in a main event spot. So you sound like you came in the correct way. You had your mouth shut, you listened, you had your gear bag, you're ready to go. So it's nice to hear.
I'm sure there'll be plenty of people that say I had my mouth open because I'm sure I ruffled plenty of feathers along the way, but I agree. I think that that's one of the most important things. And luckily, as things started evolving in the New England wrestling scene, there was an opening for kind of like a new school to pop up with a promotion up there called the XWA. So me and Mike Bennett started helping train at the school. And that was one of the biggest things that we would tell people, like, you're not entitled to anything in wrestling. Like, and not to name drop, but I can remember Shawn Michaels saying to like a group of us one time, like, wrestling will make 0 sense. It makes no sense. So stop trying to make sense of it because you'll drive yourself crazy. All you have to do is continue to try to do what you're doing, and hopefully something breaks. And, I can't tell you how many guys come in, especially guys that, and it's, I understand it. Guys that come from athletic backgrounds or come from MMA or some shoot fighting, they'll come in thinking like, I can beat everyone's ass here. Why am I not the champion?
Exactly.
Like, it doesn't work like that. There's so much more than just the competition that comes in the ring. That, it's nice to kind of pass those lessons down. And I have to really credit like guys like Mike Bennett, who were always super humble, and that they were, bringing me along to places. And I was kind of seeing how humble they were and how people would respond to it. And I was like, okay, I know nothing about wrestling, but I know that if you're, Tony Toughnuts over here saying that you should be champ and like, you're too good to set up the chairs, you're not going to get very far.
Hey there, it is the Queen of Extreme, Francine from ECW. Do you want to see more of me? Click over here to watch another video, or click over here to listen to my podcast. And as always,